Welcome to the Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not already become a member, please do so now. You can go to the description of this video, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see a link where it says join the channel. And there are varying levels of support, and we appreciate it greatly. It does help keep this content free. This is your AU Scoop. See the Auburn helmet. And if you are not aware, Auburn literally just blasted the Mercer Bears 62-17 behind a sparkling debut from true freshman quarterback Deuce Knight. Could it have gone any better for Deuce Knight? That's the question I have. As soon as he touches the field, first offensive play, 75-yard touchdown run. Deuce Knight accounted for 6 touchdowns today. 6, 2 passing and 4 rushing. 215 of 20 for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns passing. 9 carries, 162 yards, and 4 touchdowns rushing. This was a masterclass by Deuce Knight. Now, I know people are going to say it was only Mercer. That's fair. He has not done it against SEC competition. But when you talk about I think it was Ball State he played earlier in the year, you can go to some of the comments under these videos where people are saying, why is everybody so crazy about Deuce Knight? He didn't look like he was only 2 of 5 against Ball State. He wasn't all that against Ball State. We already saw what Deuce Knight can do. He can't be the answer. Well, I'll tell you what, I'd say that Mercer would beat Ball State, even though they're in two different. I think one is FBS, one is FCS. I'd put my money on Mercer versus Ball State. First of all, secondly, Deuce Knight literally showed that one, his speed is different. Two, his vision running the ball is different. Three, he does throw a pretty pass. I mean, we could just keep counting. Four, the excitement around him. I think Deuce Knight's performance, and I said this yesterday on my show, the performance of Deuce Knight could single-handedly be more important to the retention of key players on this team than whoever you hire as head coach. People are going to want to play with Deuce Knight. There are multiple people who feel as if Deuce Knight will win a Heisman. Now, that is very high praise, but you hear people around say, oh, Deuce Knight is going to win a Heisman one day. And it's not because he did it already in practice and, you see how much of a year he's having, but it's because you can see the athleticism, you can see the ability to throw, and given the right offense, his skill set is reminiscent of, those real live, true dual threat guys. Jackson Arnold gave you a dual threat, right? The difference was, I think, between the two is the physicality that Deuce Knight can provide. He's just a bigger guy, 6'5", almost 6'6". I mean, if you ever want reference to how truly big Deuce Knight is, look at him next to Cam Coleman. Nobody is mistaking Cam Coleman as a 5'9" slot receiver. He's a pretty big guy himself. Watch how big Deuce Knight looks in comparison to Cam Coleman. Speaking of Cam Coleman, do you not feel a little bit robbed that you have not been able to see the connection of Deuce Knight and Cam Coleman more this year? What about Malcolm Simmons having a day? Let's pull up these stats for Malcolm Simmons. 5 for 149, including a 91-yarder. Deuce Knight, real guy. Malcolm Simmons, real guy. And I think the most important part of what Deuce Knight did today was he had a steady and calming presence. When the game looked way closer than it should have, in the first half, I think it was 14. Mercer had just scored 14. The game was way closer than anybody wanted it. It made you uncomfortable. There were literally people on message boards saying Auburn's going to lose this game, right? I even tweeted, "Hey, Mercer's got a few P4 guys on this roster. They're not going to lay down. You got to beat them." Deuce Knight had a very steadying and calming presence, and he just ran up and down the field. Nobody's business. Now, mind you, this is a true freshman. He could have easily said, "I'm in a dogfight, start pressing, start turning the ball over, stop taking what was given, and created bad plays." But he did not. Another thing that I saw was he really, really takes what you give him. If the pass is open and he's going to take it, he's scrambling with his eyes downfield. And if he truly doesn't see anything, that's when he takes off, and that's when it gets dangerous. It seems like he's running at a speed that you can't really tell how fast he's running. Now he runs like a Taylor Green. Those 6'5", 6'6" quarterbacks, when they have athleticism, they cover so much ground, it doesn't look like they're moving fast at all. It looks like but they're covering so much ground with every step. You're going to hear Cam Newton comparisons this week. I just talked to somebody, told them the stats. They said, "Man, that sounds like Cam Newton." You're going to hear those comparisons. Two different quarterbacks, I think, at this juncture. But I think Deuce Knight has every skill in the book to become legendary at Auburn University. What do you guys think about the defense? Maybe a bit of a slow start. I think when you look at it, see what you gave up. Start out, touchdown. It was 7-7. Yeah, Mercer actually went up 14-7. Just so we clear. Mercer went up 14-7. It was tied 14-14 before the defense got a punt. Second quarter, the defense finally got a punt, and Auburn never looked back. And then towards the end, they give up the field goal. It's 21-17 Auburn, and that's when they said, "That's it. That's enough. We'll stop at this point." But yeah, man, shoot. I think the defense finally, that Mercer offense, I like their offense. Now, if was anybody watching Mercer's offense and looking like that offensive line is pretty well coached to have guys who are all right around 300 pounds, nobody over 300 overly. And some of those plays and some of those formations, I was like, man, could you imagine Auburn with some of those? That guy Mercer is going to get a job. So I want to give kudos to the Mercer Bears for sure. But I think the defense did a good job once they decided to put their foot down, which they did. It seemed like guys, maybe sleepwalking a little bit. Got to find out what's wrong with Keldrick Faulk ahead of the Iron Bowl. Let's look at the overall team stats for the game. 21 first downs to 19. Auburn led that. Mercer came out really on fire on third down, but ended up only 8 for 19. Auburn ends up 7 for 11. Mercer, 338 total yards. Auburn had 547. Mercer did have 2 interceptions. They ran for 115 yards. I like that running back Miller as well. Really tough guy. Maybe somebody in Auburn's recruiting department says we could use a bruiser. He looks like he could play at a higher level. Auburn rushed for 277 yards with Deuce Knight being the majority of that. How often do you see games where you give up almost double what you have in time of possession and you win by 45? That's crazy. When I saw the spread being 28, it raised my antennas a little bit. If you guys tuned into my live last night, I was like 28 points. Auburn hasn't been great offensively. I'm like, Vegas got to know something. But it was just such a scary proposition for me because I knew what Mercer was. I was at the game the last time Mercer came to Auburn, and they played Auburn way tougher than anybody expected. But when you look at the roster, It's like, all right, it makes sense. But they had to play. They had to turn it on. And I think the question now is, and we'll get into this more and more, but do you start or does Deuce Knight play against Bama? I think you got to at least give him a shot or make Bama think about it. Even if Ashton Daniels is your starter, I wouldn't tell the media, make him think about Deuce Knight. That you got a game plan for him. He's different. He is different. You have nothing like that on your team. Zero. I feel good because now for everybody who's been riding with me since this new journey we started this year, spring, fall, and I was saying, hey, a lot of people are saying Deuce Knight is the most talented quarterback in that room. Now, is he the best quarterback? We don't know yet. As far as the best quarterback, as far as to win you a game tomorrow, hadn't been battle tested. Young, right? But talent wise, I don't think there's anybody else in that room. And I love Ashton Daniels. I don't think there's anybody else in that room who could have done what Deuce Knight did today. Exciting day in Auburn. It's going to mean a ton to recruiting. I wish there were more class of 26 recruits there, but you had some commits there. I think Shadarius Tootle was there. If you're a candidate for this job and you see Deuce Knight, you have to be salivating when you think about the Auburn job. How have we not seen Deuce Knight to Cam Coleman yet? That is crazy. All season. It feels like that combination, you should have, I don't know. Hindsight is 2020, but damn, Hugh. I'm telling you, I really feel as if you would have went with Deuce, maybe we aren't having all these conversations. It's easy to say that now. That's just an opinion. How do you feel? Do you feel like Deuce Knight has the type of talent where maybe you win a couple of those games that you lost? Does he help you against Missouri? Could he have been a difference maker against UGA? Or are we being prisoners of the moment because it was Mercer? And of course he was going to do that against Mercer. How do you feel? Do you feel as if Deuce Knight is the real deal? Or did he just have a field day against subpar competition? I'm leaning towards the first. Hype train me. I want the whole first row of seats on a hype train. Deuce Knight. Raise my hand. Sign me up. Drink the Kool-Aid. Whatever you call it. The reversal rat poison. That. I feel like he's the real deal. How do you feel? Drop it in the comments. We'll be talking soon. We definitely got to talk about who you think the starter should be. We got to talk. I got some. We're going to have a good week content-wise. So, look, pull up a chair, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll go live a couple of days, Auburn only. We're going to make it fun this week, all right? All right, man. See y'all. Thank you. All right, bye.